When you consider these statistics, you are sure of one thing, my friends, that this is systemic. It's not by accident. It's within the system by which we live, by which governments make decisions, both local and national and international. You're dealing with something which is not a passing whim, an irregularity in nature, an accident that's going to be corrected over time. You're dealing with something now within the system of our government. It is systemic. And you and I, we're born, we live, and die within that system. We're caught in it. I want to examine the system with you slightly. And if you know, all Irishmen, traditionally, since St. Patrick came to Ireland, suffer from mental diarrhea. So when it gets too much, I know Father Marx will look at me with that marvelous friendship look he has. You know, if you get up in the morning, I want to study our present system by which we're living and what we're facing, especially the younger people, not us poor whiteheads perhaps. If you get up in the morning and head out the door to work, and you find the front gate is gone, and your mailbox is gone, and the lamppost you used to walk by is gone, you say, well, who's taken away my front gate? Where's the mailbox? And where's the lamppost gone anyway? In other words, we are used to small things. We are creatures of localized habits. And we see it immediately. The moment anything changes, where are my cufflinks? You know, where's that lamppost? What did they do with the mailbox? But the other characteristic of our character is that the other characteristic of our mode of living is that any vast change, any all-embracing change, not immediately affecting our localized habits, our home locale, our community, our job, our friends, our city, our state, our government even, any such sea change, we don't notice it until it becomes an accomplished fact. And then we say, oh, that's what it is. We don't notice it because it doesn't affect us and affect our localized habits. And with very few exceptions, we are creatures of localized habits. Now, the most jolting element about a sea change is that you're helpless when it comes. It's a fait accompli. It's done, and you have to live with it. Towards the final stamping of that new change, bit by bit, piece by piece, element by element, you begin to have a queasy feeling that there's something happening you don't know. You know there's something big affecting everybody, affecting us all. It's a vast, encompassing change. And then everybody says, well, this is the way it is now. This is going to be the way it's going to be. And then you're faced with that fait accompli. Sometimes it's not too jolting because you like what's happening. Sometimes you do like it. The most egregious example of sea change is the one that has affected my Roman Catholic Church. Now a community of 900 million souls nominally, in 25 years, it has been shattered. It was a pyramidal structure with the papal power at the apex, and everything ranged hierarchically between that down to the smallest little parish, the smallest little person, with a flow of obedience, authority, and moral enlightenment and dogmatic statement coming from the top down, and with obedience and zeal coming from the base up. That has gone. We are now shattered in pieces. The unity is gone. But did you notice it when it was happening in 25 years? No. No, it just happened, and here we are. And it is a sea change. It's the most astounding sea change we have. And we still don't fully understand it. All we know is that that which gave us a Catholic community nationwide is gone. We now live in a completely different system. But about that perhaps later. It is a sea change. Now, if you understand, if you can appraise the change, the sea change that has affected this marvelous structure, I'm talking about the structure of the Roman Catholic Church, not the mystical body, not the spiritual entity of it. If you can appraise the sea change of that's taken place in our lifetime, we didn't notice it until it became a fact. And now every day we have examples of it, distressing examples, disunity. If you appraise that properly, then you can appraise the sea change that's taking place in our world. this sea change is societal. We unfortunately are the victims as well as the beneficiaries, but in this case the victims of our media. And the media are there to entertain, not to inform, in spite of all protests on the part of the media. Because entertainment is the idea. And even the media people themselves will say, well, we're preparing a story for you tonight on the 11 o'clock news. It's a story. And we really haven't got what we really call a free press. It's always reflecting some point of view. Objectivity would be like a telegram or a computer readout. We don't get that in our newspapers or in our television. Now, the big change we have undergone without knowing it, and it is a fait accompli, my friends, is that, well, let's start with the machine or the mechanism or the deus ex machina, which brought the change to our consciousness. He was and is a he's now 60-year-old ethnic Russian with a stain on his forehead which the more religious among us took as the mark of Cain the moment we saw it, and dermatologists hastened to explain was the typical port wine stain of a vascular birthmark. Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev, who suddenly appeared. He had no political solutions. He had no financial solutions. He wanted to be financed. He didn't break up his armies, but he suddenly appeared in the West and touched us, and we will never be the same again. There was a magic there, a vast magic. And the magic touched everybody. Even Maggie Thatcher met this man and said, I sat down with this extraordinary man, and I assure you that every molecule of my body was affected by him. Maggie Thatcher. Gee, that's power. With the Iron Lady. And then we had Gorby throughout the world, pressing the flesh in Washington and Bonn, walking with her creased trousers, and Raisa, the Queen of Chic in San Francisco's golden sunlight, having tea with the Queen in Windsor at 4 o'clock, chatting with the Pope. And everybody's saying, oh gee, this is great. The bear is not a grizzly bear at all. It's a little teddy bear with dirty diapers, and it's hungry. It needs us. It needs us. It needs us. And but it went for more than that, my friends. It went for more than that, and this is where the fait accompli, the sea change, suddenly has dawned slowly on people. It is a matter of public record, and in the words of President George Herbert Walker Bush, Mikhail Sergeyevich Gorbachev, François Mitterrand, he's so French, François, of France, Chancellor Kohl of Germany, Mikhail Gorbachev of Russia, Taifu of Japan, that their aim is to create a new structure for the world. And Mr. Baker, James the Faithful, has outlined this in words, which we read look it up in the papers. It's three concentric circles. The first circle is the Western European community, which is on its way, now that Maggie has departed. The second concentric circle is formed, and this is the big sea change, by the union of the Western Economic Community and the new Federation of Soviet States. And the third circle, concentric with the other two, is to run from Vladivostok on the China Sea, across the Russian heartland, across Eastern Europe, across Western Europe, across the Atlantic, and reaching as far as the beaches of California. That is the new economic union which will be set up. In the meanwhile, the organs are already set up, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the GATT, which is not the name of a cat, by the way, it's the General Agreement on Trades and Tariffs, which will create an omni-nation closed system of export-import, which we must join or die. All nations must trade today or die, will be established by the end of April or the end of September, but it's coming. And this has, the crowning part of this was that Mr. Bush